Hi, I'm Rose, and this is the Sovereign Soul podcast. I support people to live beyond their ego and limitations so that they can know true freedom. I believe that in order to be free, we have to learn to make friends with our fears. And it's quite crazy when you think about how easily people are manipulated through fear. You create an idea in your head of what is scary, and then through the feeling that you get of what you are afraid of, you give your power away because you feel powerless. You feel the whole energy field changes completely in the face of fear. Now, death is an inevitable part of life. If you live in a human body, you're going to die. That is just all there is to it. The body dies. Your consciousness doesn't. Well, I don't believe that it does. That's not how I see and understand things. But ultimately, the body is going to die. And that fear of death is something that has people running around like headless chickens, and therefore so easy to manipulate. Religion has been used for this, particularly because people don't know what happens when you die. The body was one day alive and then it wasn't, and then there's no one in there anymore, and you're like, oh my God, what happens? Perhaps there's a belief that people have that when you die, you're done. It was just this experience that we came in for, and then we go. Like maybe they believe you go back to the whole, or maybe they just don't believe that you exist anymore, like you just cease to exist. So there are many theories around what happens to you, but I think the worst one of those theories is definitely that if you haven't lived a life according to pleasing God, you're going to die in hell. Or not die in hell, actually live in hell for all eternity, and you're gonna burn. Like that's nasty, man. That's a pretty scary thought. So people then would be petrified that that would become their reality, and so they live in a way where whatever that religion is telling them, they want to believe it because they want to not go to hell, which is a terrible reason to be a good person. I really believe that that is a terrible reason to be a good person, because most people can't be good people unless they themselves are actually a good person and want to be a good person. So that willingness and wanting to do the right thing has to come from inside of you. It can't be forced on you. And this is why so many people who claim to be super religious and super awesome and super spiritual and super powerful are actually a bunch of, what do you say, fucksies, because they still sin, for lack of a better word, since we're talking about the religious thing. They still do awful things. I mean, the Catholic Church has got the worst reputation in the worst possible ways of harming kids. Then people kill in the name of God, murder, like run countries down into the ground, all in the name of God. And because they believe that they're doing it for God, then it's okay. They go to war in the name of God. None of that is okay behavior, like ever. It's never going to be okay. Or worse yet, people continue to, I don't know, beat their spouses or beat and abuse their kids or beat and abuse animals. But because they go to church, Jesus died for their sins. Now all of a sudden it's all forgotten. Yet they just go and spend the week, doing all that shit again, hoping on Sunday it's going to be saved. Or they just live really shitty lives and hope that if they just give it all up at the end of their life and ask for forgiveness, like give it up, giving, their bad ways, then it's all going to be saved. And that's an interesting way to live, because people believe that something outside of them is watching them all the time, judging them all the time, And this projection is not only for what they think is happening in the spiritual realm, but also, in their world around them. So they live by an impression of what they want people to believe they are. And nobody's really connecting with the truth of who they are and what they are. And again, not taking that full-blown responsibility for themselves in how they behave as a human being. And it's funny because the fear of death is the thing that hooks people to these, to me, it's crazy, illogical ideas when it comes to religion and God and things like that. It makes no sense to me, and I'm not the only person. I know that there are masses of people who can say, okay, religion is a manipulation. It's not a very equal footing. I mean, even the Bible claims that there's a chosen race, which I think is appalling. I believe in equality. I believe in equality of all souls. So much so that anything that comes here to claim to be chosen by God, I think that is blasphemous. That is shocking. That is putting yourself onto a hierarchy in the spiritual realm and trying to play it out on earth, making yourself better than someone else. And that is insane. It's like you're opening yourself up for bullying in the first place. And secondly, anybody who believes that, believes in a really awful God. In my opinion, I'm not saying that your God is awful. I believe that a God that would do that is awful. A God that apparently created everything, but only some of the people it created. Well, that's pretty mean, if you ask me. And that's pretty human. That certainly is not very godlike of what I would perceive a loving, kind God to be. I think a God who is really loving and kind would be all welcoming to everything and everyone, and definitely not need some hierarchical, praise, or need hierarchical praise on humans, or put certain races through utter torture for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, all in the name of some crazy religion or a piece of land or whatever. It just doesn't make any sense. It's all utterly mad. And I think the ease on that manipulation, does that ease come from the fact that people are afraid of death? People are afraid of what happens to them, and they don't know how to be good people, which I don't think we're taught how to be good people. Yet I think at our core, all people are good and have the capacity to be really good. I don't think people are bad or born sinful like religion teaches us. I believe that we've just been led to be so disconnected from the truth of what we are and our own divinity, and including the fact that we are these infinite consciousness that just keep going if we choose to, that we have so much more choice than what we realize, and that we have to go back to understanding all of this, to not fear death, to face our fears in the face and not let it have power over us. I don't choose to be who I am because I want to, knock on heaven's door when I die. I don't believe that conventional heaven exists. I don't believe that heaven exists, actually, not in that way anyway. And ultimately, I would rather be the person I am because I know it's the right thing to do by myself and by everyone else, because I choose it every single time, no matter what happens to me, no matter what happens around me or what happens ever. I'm always going to choose to be the best I can be, not to please anything outside of me, but because it's the right thing to do. Now imagine everybody could connect to doing that from a space of this deep integrity. We'd live in a different world. I'm not afraid to die. I don't think I'm going to hell because I don't buy into these systems, which I think are massively harmful and disempowering and manipulative. If I'm trying to help others to be self-empowered, And I'm trying to help others to be self-empowered from a genuine space of wanting people to be free and to be happy and to stop suffering. Any God that punishes that is a really, really, really an awful God. I wouldn't want to please a God like that. That's just a mean God, in my opinion. So I'm willing to take the risk to be what I think is right. Even in death, I'm not afraid to die. And I think that people need to learn to connect to that, knowing that you are all connected to divinity, so that when you die, there's nothing to fear at all. I think understanding that fear, the illusion of fear and the fear of fear, is really all it is. And to stop giving anything power over you through that fear. I like that. To me, that makes me feel like something worthwhile is happening in me when I can overcome fears. All right, that's all for this one. I will see you in the next episode.